everyone. Welcome back to the Leadership with a Twist podcast. I'm Heather McGonigal, the host, here with my co host, Barbara Schindler. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Hi, Heather. Hi, everyone.
We're like deep into the summer, I guess. I can't believe it's mid July already. And I was thinking, last video we did, we talked about courageous confidence, and it got me thinking about what adds to that, what partners with courageous confidence. And what came to mind was something that you and I both learned about in our graduate program, and it's this concept of inner wisdom or your intuition. And the reason I wanted to talk about this in particular is because I wanted to paint the picture of this. I think now in the current business times, not only do we have all of the ordinary challenges, and there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of fast moving change, we also have new tools that most of us are using, AI. And AI is a thinking partner, right? It's something that we iterate ideas with, we delegate to, we do some thinking alongside of, and that got me thinking that this might be a good time to mention to our audience of entrepreneurs and leaders, remember to check in with your own inner wisdom. What do you
Right.
think,
Well,
Barbara?
we are strong supporters and teachers about mindfulness, right?
Mhm.
To be balanced in that there is an inner experience, there's inner wisdom, there's gut instincts, there's those emotions or energies that come up while you're in your workday. We definitely are very intelligent human beings, and we rely greatly on our intellect. And I guess as you're mentioning AI, I think of that's like a partner intellect. It's like,
Yeah.
you feed it information and it gathers information for you. But we want to connect that to that inner wisdom, to our instincts. And the courageous confidence is something we talked about because we're coaching so often about that lately. And I do think that our current times in business call us to be creative, innovative, and being willing to think this or something else. What's the alternate piece here? There's no perfect formula like, oh, this is working in the marketing today, or this is the best thing, everybody's responding to this in programs. It's unpredictable in an interesting way, and it brings us to be good business leaders that not only try to figure it out, but trusting more and more our inner wisdom. That's where creativity, innovation come from. Well, what are you thinking inside about this? Like, how are you feeling? Like, test out that decision you think you're going to make. Like, how does that resonate with you for a moment, right? Like, really trusting that part of ourselves more and more.
Yes, and I think for me as a coach, I wanted to remind people and emphasize that it's an important part of the equation. It shouldn't make all your business decisions, but it shouldn't be left out, right? You have a
Mhm.
strategic plan, you have project plans you're moving forward, you're heavy in execution and launching and getting things done and getting the input in the results and the financial numbers of your company, and things are moving fast, and you're checking in with your team and you're looking at data, and don't forget this piece of inner wisdom.
Yeah. And in addition to that, I do think it's a good way to break us out of habits.
Hmm.
A lot of the things that we do in our jobs or decisions we make or in interactions or working on projects, they are like habits that are formed from doing things, making decisions and taking actions under pressure. And we do it often enough, right? We're entrepreneurial businesses. There's always a little bit of an overload of work that you have to discern through. And so some
Can
of
you
the
say that
habits.
again? There's always a little bit of an overload of work. My computer made noise.
Yeah, your computer's competing with me. Uh, I think in entrepreneurial businesses, we've talked about this before. by design, just how it works with growing or stabilizing businesses that are in this state of entrepreneurial industry. There tends to often be more than you have the capacity to do. It's a
Yes.
a great working experience to be able to practice having to discern, to prioritize, to delegate. All of those skills are really important in entrepreneurial teams,
Yeah.
right? Because the human capacity, uh, I was coaching this morning and I was just like, okay, so if you stretch yourself to work late tonight to get this thing, oh, this is so important. I'm going to stay later. I'm going to work till 7 o'clock tonight. How does that impact 9 o'clock tomorrow morning? Was that really efficiently,
Is
making
it,
your work better?
yeah, there's a domino effect.
Well, because now I'm tired at 9 o'clock. We were talking about optimal performance and how
Mm,
that balances, right? So we're making decisions like, oh, I'm going to get, obviously, if it has to be handed in at 7 o'clock at night, maybe you're making the right decision. But
right.
if you're tiring yourself out just to be like, oh, there's so much work, and then I show up the next morning and I'm depleted instead of ready to apply myself fully to my work, are we able to work at the capacity that's needed? And that's kind of what I was talking about in a coaching call today. So back to inner wisdom, right? Like
Well,
it
I think
is,
that's part of a hard-earned inner wisdom that you're sharing that I really want to highlight for the audience too is you learn as a human being, or at least you should be learning what works best for you over time. That's what I hear Barbara sharing is like, how can you consider what actually sets you up for success? You are the human resource here, the super valuable resource. And when do you do your best thinking? And if you have to make a choice because something has a deadline and it needs to get done tonight, yes, you're going to stretch yourself and do that, but that is going to have a collective impact on the rest of the work week, on your brain capacity, on how you're doing. Why? Because you're human and you know yourself better than anyone else. So are you factoring this in and are you going like, this is what I need to actually be successful? Or are you looking ahead at your calendar and are you noticing, oh, that deadline's coming and then that's going to happen? And have you factored any of this in to take care of yourself?
yeah, obviously, some of that connects to checking in inside, right? What's my capacity? We were talking also today just on, pacing yourself through the day. Studies show that if you work for
Mm,
hours and don't leave the computer or your chair, you are actually working against yourself, then taking a 5 minute break and taking a walk down the hall or getting outside for a moment because you're actually replenishing yourself and you probably have more capacity then for the work instead of like, oh, I can't take a break now because I got so much to do. Might need in the human element, which is trusting our inner wisdom to understand how we work best, right? Ourselves and as humans in general to model for your team is like, well, actually, I'll probably be more productive if every 2 hours I take a little break and stretch and get a cup of tea or whatever that might be. I want to go back to the thought that I was sharing. I might have missed it though. With the inner wisdom being, oh, I think I kind of lost it right now. We'll have to come back to it.
okay,
Um,
I have a question.
okay.
How do you want to, how, I have a question about this inner wisdom and gut check in a teamwork environment. Because I had a thought that there are probably times that members of team have impulse and instinct and intuition thoughts around projects, plans, timelines, and how things are going, and they may or may not be sharing them.
Hmm.
And
Right.
right, and so that could be a way that you create additional safety and sort of nurture and expand the collaborative think tank is like modeling, demonstrating like, what is our intuition around this? Does anyone have a certain feeling around this project in plan or this project in plan? And having that again not be the only factor that makes the decision, but factoring it in because, yeah, there might really
Yeah.
be a pull one way or another of how people are feeling.
I was just thinking that, and I do remember the tie. I want to go back to habits, but the so what I was laughing is because you need to sort of prepare your team if
Mm,
this sort of, a new practice. So
yes.
you mentioned modeling, and I think that's helpful, where you can be in the decision making or collaboration moment in your teamwork and pause and share and say, this isn't quite feeling right. Like you can demonstrate starting to talk. I was laughing because somebody
Yes.
who is not in touch with that is going to be like, what happened to Heather? you know
Yeah.
what's going on here? We don't
This
make
is
gut
this is
decisions,
different. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, type of thing. So, but modeling is the first step. Practicing yourself is the first step. And what I wanted to be sure we caught was, you know, our inner wisdom is a great practice, practicing like, how's that feeling? Or what am I thinking, outside of this intellect? Because we want to break the habits that have been formed by working too fast, having to make quick decisions,
Hmm.
trying to get through times instead of being high performance working in situations. We often try to just like get through them, and we're making fast non-sustainable decisions,
Yes.
and those non-sustainable decisions become habits.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're working in a non-sustainable state long term, and we're watching people not only get overwhelmed but burn out through those kind of habits that become unconscious because it's like, this is how we do it, this is how we do it. And somewhere along the way you might have thought in the past this isn't sustainable, but it
Yeah.
actually has become a familiar habit and it feels right, unless you can get into the inner wisdom that says, Robert, you need a pause here. you
Yeah.
know
That
like
the
I can
human
feel that.
being, the system maybe has some red flags going.
Exactly, because in my intellect, in my patterns, it seems right. This happens with a lot of our, habits that have been formed not for the right reasons, not consciously in
Right.
our leadership, right? The intentions that who we want to be and how we want to show up, how we want to nurture our team to, as you were bringing up, Heather, speak up if it doesn't feel right. Have you ever been in a meeting and after the fact somebody's like, yeah, that wasn't quite feeling right? And you're like, oh, wait a minute. We need
Yes,
to add that to our
that's
conversation.
why I'm thinking there is a value to demonstrating this in team meetings and adding this layer of safety to your collaborative think tank. That's what I think of as your leadership team meetings, that space that you create together. If we demonstrate, hey, I have sort of an off feeling about all this, and that actually is welcome in the room, like as like, hey, that's valid. Maybe
Let's check. Let's
maybe
take a
there's
pause. Let's
another
discern.
layer of something we need to check. There's something, yes, we need to discern here. Maybe there's another layer of proofing that needs to happen. Like something is making that feeling be present around this. Let's honor that. And I think
Yeah.
also, I talked about the age of AI a little in the beginning, and also occurs to me in this moment, that's one of the added values of the human element, right? You can use AI for help, you can use those technology tools to assist you, but they won't be able to replace the human element, which could make a read in the moment of, wait, we might need to slow down, something's a little off,
Yeah.
right?
Your AI assistant is not going to help you with that. Whereas one of
So
my
this,
clients calls it her robot is not going to help
yes,
you
that
with the
robot's
inner
not going to know.
instincts.
The robot's not testing that level of like, what's the temperature right now in this moment? How's it really feeling? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so I want to encourage all the humans out there to be listening within. And if the concept of inner wisdom sounds a little floofier or something, it's as simple as what Barbara said, a gut check. If but you have to be in tune with listening inside. This is a muscle to build, and I think this is an important leadership muscle to make sure that you're actually building and maintaining. Maybe you even built it at some point, right? But if I've gone to the gym and built some muscles, and then I just stop going to the gym for a whole year because I'm so busy and I have no time to work out, that muscle is going to deteriorate. It's not going to be as strong. So I'm reminding everyone too, our intuition, our inner knowing, our inner wisdom has a value, a very important value. That's a super, yeah, it's a part of being human, that plays an important part of helping us navigate the world, and it should factor in to our business decisions. So, do you know how to listen within? Are you listening to that voice, or are you pushing for the deadlines? For, like, maybe I'll stop and think or check within once this project is over. Are you just pushing? Or are you used to spending some time to check within?
So practice the mindfulness, pausing through your day to listen
Yes.
within, check in. And this is really the doorway and part of yourself, part of how you function as a human being, as a business leader, is a part of yourself that you want to build trust, that you want to make that connection. As Heather said, it does take practice, and then building that trust to trust yourself, and then being a courageous, confident leader to actually share that into your thinking and into your teamwork. That's going to make a huge difference in great positive ways, especially in today's time that you need that creativity, you need that innovation, and you need to find those unique paths and those unique answers to the current times.
Yes. So, thank you so much for being here today and listening to this episode of Leadership with a Twist. If you apply what you are learning from what Barbara and I shared, we'd love to hear about it. So, let us know in the comments below this video. As always, if you'd like any support, there's also a link to grab time on our calendars for coaching, because we love supporting members of entrepreneurial teams. And until next video, we are cheering you on. So keep going, and remember to
Yes.
take that time to check within. Thanks so much for being here with me, Barbara. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.